Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, May 20th, 2020, and we're still in the middle of this COVID thing, but I've got another Machinist tool pick video. It's probably going to be a multi-parter, at least a two-parter. We've got quite a few things that came in at this last pick. This ended up being a situation where I ended up having that old Tektronix Oscilloscope you guys may have seen in one of my previous videos that I picked up for 10 bucks with the cord cut off. Ended up finding out that that needed a repair and a new cord. Got that running pretty well. Threw that up on Facebook for 50 bucks. And the guy who bought that came down and we got to talking about vintage electronics, and he expressed an interest in CB radios. And he mentioned that he and his son had just gotten a whole bunch of machinist tools for their workshop and that they had a lot of extra stuff. So I mentioned that I'd be interested in coming out and taking a look at what they've got. And long story short, I went out there. Most of the stuff belonged to the son, so I dealt directly with the son. Purchased quite a few items from him. I think it totaled somewhere around just about 400 bucks. And then his dad ended up buying from me several CB radios, two of which were brand new old stock in the box radios. They were a couple of Cobras that were from like the 1980s that were still new in the box, and I featured those in a video a little while back, which I believe I called it Vintage CB Radios Part 1. But that was a look at the first part of my CB radio collection, which is pretty extensive. I decided I finally want to start going through that and figuring out what I really want to keep and what I want to prioritize to sell. Because I can't just hold on to all of them forever. It's kind of silly to have all these radios kicking around, especially since I don't even have an antenna on the roof here. Yet, I'd like to put one up, see what's out there. Some people are saying that there's actually a resurgence of interest in CB radio because of the whole COVID virus thing, believe it or not. This particular individual specifically said CB over ham. He still thinks ham is dead, but CB is where it's at. But I think he also was a little bit of a, what do you call those? There's a name for it. The guys who are preparing for the end of the world type scenarios. This is actually the second group of items that I bought, but since they were on top of the box, we'll start with them. These are inside and outside calipers, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and I paid $35 for the lot, so $5 a piece. These two little ones and these three here are all Starrets. This unusual one here with the removable leg that could be, I guess, turned around is a Craftsman. And this one is a General Tool. Next up is this lot of indicators, and put together all these extra indicators that he had laying around. And he kept a couple of the cleaner, better ones with cases and decided that the rest of these were surplus and he didn't have much interest in them. So I ended up getting these indicators, the whole lot, for one price. I don't believe that all of these indicators were in the initial. This one right here and these two drop indicators, I think they may have come later and been bundled in with another lot. But I do recall that this is an empty case for a best test. It's just got one attachment in it. But this is a best test, an older one. Seems to work okay, and it's got some of the accessories in it. And then these back here were all in one lot for 50 bucks. It's a pretty good deal, especially when you see some of these, other than being really dirty and having some age on them, actually seem like they're working okay. This is a Brown and Sharpe 7033-3, which means that this model has the resolution 0.00005. So we've got 4 zeros after the decimal point. So this is a half 100,000ths, I believe, indicator. And it does seem to work perfectly fine. Dovetails they've got some wear and dings on them, but nothing that's going to stop it from being used right away. So I won't bother sending this one out for any service or anything. I'll just sell it the way it is. And we'll probably see if we can find a case for it. And in fact, we'll just stick it in this case right here. As long as we're looking at the best test, let's see what this one was. Or is. Oh, this is a regular thousandths one. This is a 7029-3. This one right here is a pretty basic one. Seems to work perfectly fine, but being that it's just a thousandths model and it's kind of dingy, probably gonna sell this one pretty cheaply. And as a matter of fact, might even not offer this one with the case, because I think I might have a Brown and Sharpe that needs a case that's in better shape than this. I just got back a whole shipment of indicators I had sent out to MR Tool for R&R, so we'll have to go through those and see what's going on with those. This is a Girod, Girod, which might sound like some kind of name that's nothing to get excited about, but in reality, this is actually a Swiss-made indicator. This is on par with the quality of Tessa indicators. So this is a Swiss-made. I think maybe this company might no longer be in business, but so that could present a problem if you go to get it repaired. The only source for repair parts for this might be another, broken indicator that has parts that could be salvaged from it. But the important thing about it is that it's actually in pretty darn good shape, and it's a vertical one, which some people really like these. I would probably keep this one for myself if I didn't already have an Interrapid of this style. So this is marked Girod Tast, T-A-S-T, 0.0005. So this is a half 10,000ths resolution indicator. Next up, we got a Mitutoyo. And again, it's just a Mitutoyo. It's got some damage to the plastic crystal on the top there, but still good quality. And again, this is a half 10,000ths indicator, and it's another vertical one. So I'm sure somebody will love to give this a home. Teklock. So Teklock is a cheap import brand of indicator, but it's worthy to note that this is a tenths indicator, 0.0001 resolution indicator, and even though it is a import, it's Japanese. It actually says made in Japan right on it. So this is still not as low quality as, say, for instance, something out of Taiwan. This also has a damaged crystal. Dovetails look really good though. And the second to the last DTI I bought that was in this lot is another Mitutoyo. Oh, that one cleaned up nice. So this is a Mitutoyo 513-212, and this is a 0.0005, so this is a half tenths indicator. It's got the long reach on it, and it works perfectly. Other than being engraved on the side, it's in pretty good shape. The dovetails look good. And then, like I said, this is the last DTI, I believe, out of the lot, but I think this might have been something I found later and got included in another lot. But here is the last word. And it is hanging. So it's going to need a little bit of attention. But in my experience, almost all of these last words end up being just a matter of the pivot point here being dirty and causing it to hang. I didn't take much playing around with this to get this thing to seem to start acting right. It hangs every once. See, it's hanging right there. Hangs every once in a while, so it's going to need some attention. I'm not going to bother with it though. I'm just going to sell it dirt cheap. Notice if I flip the lever, the directional lever, It actually does seem to work better in this direction. Yeah, not going to worry about it. So looks like we got an extra contact point in there too. In this arm. It's missing the whatchamacallit, the ball and screw part that goes on here, but this part is here. I might have one of those. I think I've got an extra one of those somewhere. Ah, I forgot that I had this Starret last word case with a bunch of goodies in it. And I didn't have a last word for this case. It was an extra one. So this is what the style of attachment that would go on here. So that ball would ride right in there. So I guess I could just put this right in there. This would be redundant, so we don't need that. Is this attachment here? So next up is this long throw indicator that is super filthy. It's an SPI, which most likely means that it's a cheap import. I have seen indications that apparently there was a time when some SPI indicators actually were made in Switzerland. SPI is supposed to stand for Swiss Precision Instruments, but it has long since, I believe, been sold out, and it's just aftermarket stuff. Oh, this thing's sticky. At least it's either very sticky. Well, actually, I could feel that that's sticky. Let's see if we can clean this a little bit better. Oh yeah, I just gave that a good cleaning, and now works perfect. Nothing wrong with it. Next up is this old indicator. I mean, this looks like, by the looks of it, that it's been sitting in this box for a long time. It's funny, it looks a lot like a Starret, like an early Starret by the looks of the frame and that. The dead spider on there. Some rust there. But it's not branded Starret, I don't think. Seems to work perfectly fine. This is a 1/2 thousandths drop indicator. That's interesting. You don't see those very often. See, it's 0.0005. You know, you tend to see most drop indicators are thousandths, and then when you go higher in resolution, they tend to be the DTIs, the dial test indicator style. So that intrigues me. It has a number on it. That's interesting. The bezel only turns this far. You can't turn it further than that. There's actually a slot in the bezel with a pin that sticks up right down there that stops this from being able to go any further. So you're limited to how far you can adjust this. I don't see that too often. Actually, I've never seen that before. It's an interesting design. H2-15. I wonder if we can find out anything on this. Actually, let me see if that says anything there. Nope. Just a black band there, no name. Works perfect. Next up is another indicator that I picked up, and you know, box says it's a Starret. Okay, it's 25 series. Look what it is, though. It's another one of these. It's the same indicator, same foam case, which makes me think this was maybe a Starret foam case. I don't know. So this one also works perfectly fine. It's marked the same way, H2-15. Same resolution, 0.005. This one is maybe cleaner. It's got a this one's got like some yellowing to it on the crystal. This one seems more white. Other than that, they're almost identical. I wouldn't grab one of my 25 series Starrets just to compare it. It's interesting. This is, of course, this is the lug back, but I've got another one that's flat back 25 series, and when I look at that one, the back's identical to this. It's got the you know, that texture to it. But if you look at the bodies, they're very similar. They're virtually identical. This one's missing the cap on the top, so this cap, if I screw it on here, then you'd see that it's basically the same body. So this may very well be a Starret, and it was just maybe made special for somebody. I don't know. Well, next up I have quite a decent sized group of calipers I was able to get. I don't have my cost on a lot of these individually. This one I do know that I only paid 15 bucks for, because it's a Chinese made cheap import dial caliper, but it is a it says China right there, but it is a 12-inch, so that makes it still something I could probably sell. I'll just clean it up a little bit. Oh, actually, I only gave 10 bucks for these. I thought I paid 15, so even better. So I'll give somebody a deal on these. They have what looks to be an MSC part number, so I think if I look this up in the MSC online catalog, I'll probably find that this is like from the value line, and it's probably some silly price. All right, let's take a quick look and see what the rest of these calipers are. Mitutoyos. These are actually pretty nice. I like the black face. It really makes the numbers stand out. And these are really nice and smooth. These don't look like they've seen a lot of use. It's a newer style case too. That blow molded case or whatever the heck they call it. Another set of Mitutoyos. These are 8-inch. These look like they've seen a lot more use. They're dirty as heck. I've never seen one with a gold bezel. What's that supposed to be all about? Is that like the golden anniversary edition? There you go. That was minimal effort there, and they spruced up quite a bit. They just need a more thorough cleaning. But they actually still feel really good. It's a different style Mitutoyo case. Last time I had Mitutoyos in a case like this, they ended up being metric. But these are not. These are regular 6-inch. These must be earlier. Well, that's kind of the way that's put together. It's a lot different than the other Mitutoyos that I've had. It seems to be earlier design, maybe. You can see how dirty those are. But still working fine. Yeah, that's even the original paperwork. That's cool. This box marked Tessa Swiss made. So they could be Tessa, or they could also be Brown and Sharps, which is what they are. I just got one or two pairs of these. I think I just had come back from MR Tool from being repaired. Those just need to be cleaned up. There's another one. Look like the same thing. Same exact thing, I think. All right.